So you arrived yesterday, Abelardo. What that was you saying?
Yeah, I arrived. I was late, so I'm still catching up
Yeah.
with some sleep.
Do you like this part of the job of traveling around and everything?
I don't like traveling, but I like when I get here because this is a beautiful city. And
First time here?
no, second time. I had a show here a long time ago at the Museum of Modern Art.
Yeah, the MoMA.
Yes,
Our MoMA.
I was here for that.
Ah, nice.
And what was interesting is that Itau organized it, and I went to Rio and I had a helicopter ride of Rio.
Wow. And then
So I was like, Brazil, yeah.
you have this fine art graduation. How will it leads you to the photography path?
Well, in college I wanted to be an engineer. I thought I was going to be building bridges and stuff, but I wasn't very good at mathematics. Terrible. So I took a photography course in 1969, and I fell in love. I mean, I just fell in love, like I wanted to marry it. So I decided that I was going to become an artist from then on. So there was no looking back.
And you have a strong connection with the object, the machine itself, right? I heard that you are some kind of a straight edge related to techniques. And,
yeah. Well, less now, but I do like the machine because in a sense, it's not I who make the pictures; it's the machine that makes the pictures. Mm-hmm. So that's important to know. You know, I could have ideas, but if the camera doesn't see it, it's not very good. So, you know, so I've always been interested in early stuff. But now instead of using film, I'm using a digital back.
And how it is?
I love it.
You love it?
I love it. But, you know, sometimes when I give talks now, people are saying, digital, Antichrist, you know. They're very upset. It's a very nice digital back.
Because you followed the whole, how can I say, development of photography itself,
yes.
right? How you felt like in the beginning? Now, how could you make some kind of an access and evaluation of the changes and everything?
Well, it's the same. You know, when photography was invented, there was something called wet plate. People had to coat a plate and then shoot the picture when it was still wet. Then someone developed the dry plate, which means that you could take it for a long time and use it. And people was, you know, it's like saying, no, I want the wet plate. No, dry plate is better. So this is, for me, very useful because my exposures now, my camera Obscura exposures are, instead of 8 hours, they're 10 minutes. Much different.
Could you tell us a little bit more about Camera Obscura series? Because it's a big series.
Big series, and in fact, I'm making some new kinds now.
Here?
Well, no, I want to come back to Rio
Wow,
to make pictures. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm here to scout and talk to the right people.
Oh, nice.
But in 1991, I decided to make a picture inside a Camera Obscura, and no one that I had seen had made a picture of that event. You know, so it took me a while to do it, but in '91 I made an image coming inside a room with a small hole, and I've been doing that forever. Now I'm using a tent.
A tent?
A tent.
Okay.
So I've developed a tent that's 14 feet wide that I can put anywhere with a periscope looking out. So the periscope brings an image onto the ground. So I went to Italy, Florence, and buildings were coming into the ground, and then with my digital camera, I photographed the ground.
And you put some kind of a plant, so you are starting to do some alterations on it?
No,
like,
no, well, if it's the ground, if it's plants,
that's why
then the image comes in. No, I'm straight edge.
Yeah.
Very straight edge. Very straight edge, but weird, you know, way of making it. So now this is very straight, but now I can get.
You can put
if I can, you know, I can put the Empire State Building on grass if I go to Central Park. Yeah, nice. You know.
So that's why in the picture of Florence there was some plants on
yes.
it because it was part of the floor.
Yes, it's the floor.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I like that it's very natural, but I also like that sometimes it feels like my daughter could do it in 2 seconds in Photoshop. You know how kids do it now. Kids, they just
Put everything
yeah,
together.
crazy photo, Facebook, yeah. But I take a tent.
Now you travel with a
I
tent.
travel with a tent, so it's a pain. Uh, but on my latest series was in New York City. I went to rooftops, and I made pictures from the rooftops of things in New York City. That's very exciting.
I will check for this, but I
Oh,
didn't saw
it's
it.
the newest.
You didn't put on the web or anything.
Soon, yeah, now.
You relate. How do you relate with technology and internet? Do you always are you always concerned about what's in your website or something like that?
Well, I have someone who puts it,
Fix.
yeah, of course.
Because there now is the Shadows of the House trailer, right?
Oh, right. There's a film that a woman named Ali Humanek made about me.
Could you tell us a little bit more
Well,
about
this woman, who's actually a friend, a long time ago said, "Could I make a short film about you?" And I said, "Fine." So she did a little camera obscura. Then I decided to go to Paris, and she said, "Could I come with you?" Okay. And then something else happened, and she filmed 7 years of my life. So it's a very interesting film because my children grow up. I change. My work changes. I'm really happy with it.
And during this film, you came back for the first time to Cuba.
That was the biggest thing. Yeah, I left in 1962, and I went back in 2002, just to see family and photograph. But that was very emotional because I'm
Part of the subject that we mirror in this forum is about being outside
oh, right.
house.
Yeah.
Do you feel? How do you relate with that? Like, do you feel like you have a foreign, how can I say, a foreign point of view related with your work? How do you feel about it?
Well, I left such a long time ago, before you were born. 62, so I feel in some ways very American, more American than Cuban, but in other ways, emotionally and music, I feel very Cuban. So if I hear a Cuban song, I become like a child again. So I'm of two bodies and two brains.
And this affects your work in a way, you think?
Well, a little bit. I think the idea of being like a tourist or a stranger, I think my work has always been about making the interiors strange, not be comfortable. So maybe that's part of it, being a little bit different than the rest.
Being an American and a Cuban, do you feel that, how can I say, do you think that the public has some kind of expectations regarding an exotic focus when they search for Latin American art or something like that?
Oh, yeah. It's terrible because sometimes, I went to a conference in Texas once and I showed my work and I think they meant it okay, but she said, "It's interesting that your work doesn't look like the work of a Latin American or a Cuban." And she didn't understand how offensive that was, but I responded by saying, I came to the United States to be free. It's a problem sometimes if you become part of the ghetto. Like they expect Latin American photographers to be, people with maracas, sombreros, they want to put you in a certain ghetto. And I'm Cuban, but I make work about what I feel. And some of it may have to do with my biography, but I don't feel like I need to make it so obvious.
Do you think that, like, regarding Latin American photography, it stands for something beyond a geographical boundary, or is more something like, okay, I'm a Latin American photographer because I was born in Cuba and that's it?
Yeah. Well, my memories are with me, and my memories have to do with growing up in Cuba and the struggles of that. So that has come to me, but not in a line, but in you know, and
I'm sure.
like a wave or something. So I do remember family is very important to me, and as it is in Latin America, I think it's very strong, the idea of family, and also working class. I grew up working class, so I think a lot about that. I don't like to feel like I'm above at all. No, that's important that I'm like a worker, you know. That's why it takes me long. The tent, I'm working 8 hours, you know, to make a picture, and that's very important. I don't let other people do it.
You say it's a single shot that you took.
It's one shot, yeah. But it's digital, so you can see it on a computer. You can see, oh, good, or not good, do another one.
Okay.
So maybe that's the relationship, working class and family. And music. Music for me has been very, I mean, Cuban music is...
What is your favorite? Because
well,
you
well,
say that like your eyes...
no, because, you know, when I was a kid, my father died now, but my parents were very good dancers. I mean, really good dancers.
Wow.
And they taught me how to dance when I was 7 or 8. Because in Cuba, like probably in Brazil too, if you didn't dance well, it's not good.
No,
And it's like,
agree.
oh, girls won't like you. So they taught me how to dance, and it's important, especially with people who don't understand Latin American culture. They think Brazilians and Cubanos, we're all like, oh, crazy, crazy. No, the form is very important. So, you know, the 1, 2, 3, stop. The forms are very important in Brazilian music and Cuban music. It just sounds wonderful, but it's following tradition.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, very important, that within tradition you can be liberated.
Yeah, very nice.